Now, we will examine each type of neuron, looking at their structure and function. The first type is the sensory neuron. Sensory neurons are long cells that transmit electrical impulses from sense organs, such as the eyes, ears, skin, tongue, and nose, to the central nervous system, which includes the brain and spinal cord. These impulses allow the brain and spinal cord to detect and interpret information from the environment, enabling the body to respond appropriately. Sensory neurons are usually pseudonipolar, meaning their cell body is positioned to the side of the axon rather than in the middle. This arrangement allows impulses to pass quickly from the dendron to the axon without interruption, making signal transmission faster. At one end of the neuron is a receptor cell, which senses stimuli such as light, sound, taste, or touch. Once a stimulus is detected, it is converted into an electrical impulse that travels along the dendron toward the cell body. A defining feature of sensory neurons is the location of the cell body on the side of the axon. This positioning enables impulses to flow directly through the neuron efficiently. After passing the cell body, the impulse moves along the axon, which is often covered by a myelin sheath. The myelin sheath is a fatty layer that insulates the axon, preventing signal loss and allowing impulses to jump from one node of Ranvier to the next, which significantly speeds up transmission. The role of sensory neurons is to connect sense organs to the CNS, acting as the body's communication pathway. They carry information about the environment to the brain, allowing the body to react, for example, pulling your hand away from a hot object. Without sensory neurons, the body would not be able to detect stimuli or respond effectively. Here, in the diagram, you can see the labeled parts of a sensory neuron: receptor cell, dendron, myelin sheath, cell body, and axon. Next, we will look at the relay neuron, also called the intermediate neuron. Relay neurons are located entirely within the central nervous system CNS and serve as connectors between sensory neurons and motor neurons. They allow impulses to be transmitted from one neuron to another, enabling communication within the CNS. These neurons are generally short and have a small cell body. From the cell body, several dendrites branch out, allowing the relay neuron to receive impulses from multiple neurons at the same time. The axon is also short and carries impulses directly to the next neuron, ensuring efficient signal transmission. The role of relay neurons is crucial in reflex actions, as they enable rapid responses without the need for conscious thought, protecting the body from harm. In the diagram, the main labeled parts of a relay intermediate neuron include the dendrite, cell body, and axon. Next, we will discuss the motor neuron, another important type of neuron. Motor neurons transmit impulses from the central nervous system CNS to effectors, such as muscles or glands, resulting in a response. These neurons are long and have a large cell body at one end. They are typically multipolar, meaning they have a single axon and multiple dendrites. Several dendrites extend from the cell body to connect with relay neurons, allowing the motor neuron to receive impulses efficiently. The impulse then travels along the axon, which is usually covered by a myelin sheath formed by Schwann cells. This insulation prevents signal loss and speeds up transmission. The nodes of Ranvier, which are small gaps in the myelin sheath, allow the impulse to jump from one node to the next, further increasing the speed of signal transmission. At the end of the axon, the impulse reaches the axon terminals, which then stimulate the effector, causing a muscle to contract or a gland to secrete. The role of motor neurons is to carry impulses from the CNS to effectors, producing movement or other responses. In the diagram, the labeled parts of a motor neuron include the motor neuron, cell body, axon, nodes of Ranvier, and Schwann cells. Let's examine this table to understand the different types of neurons and their functions. There are three main types of neurons: sensory, relay, and motor, each with a specific role in transmitting impulses. Sensory neurons carry impulses from receptors in sense organs to the central nervous system. They are usually long, with the cell body positioned to the side of the axon, and are often myelinated, which allows the impulses to travel quickly. Their key function is to detect stimuli, such as touch, light, sound, or taste, and send this information to the CNS for processing. Relay neurons, also called intermediate neurons, are found entirely within the CNS. They act as connectors, linking sensory neurons to motor neurons. Relay neurons are short, have a small cell body, and possess many dendrites, enabling them to receive impulses from multiple neurons simultaneously. Their role is essential in reflex actions and rapid communication within the CNS. Motor neurons transmit impulses from the CNS to effectors, such as muscles or glands, to produce a response. They are long, with a large cell body, and usually have a myelinated axon for faster transmission. The impulses carried by motor neurons result in movements or actions, such as contracting a muscle or activating a gland. In summary, sensory neurons bring information to the CNS, relay neurons process and pass information within the CNS, and motor neurons carry commands from the CNS to the body to produce a response. Finally, let's look at the three main types of neurons and their structures. These neurons work together to allow the body to detect stimuli, process information, and produce appropriate responses. Sensory neurons are long cells with the cell body positioned to the side, often myelinated. They carry impulses from receptors in sense organs, like the skin, eyes, or ears, to the central nervous system. Receptors detect environmental changes such as touch, light, or sound. The dendrites and dendron carry the impulse toward the cell body, and the axon transmits it onward to the CNS. Relay neurons, or interneurons, are short cells located entirely within the CNS. With many dendrites and a small cell body, they connect sensory neurons to motor neurons. Relay neurons process incoming impulses and transmit them efficiently within the CNS, which is especially important for rapid responses like reflex actions. Motor neurons are long, multipolar cells with a large cell body and a myelinated axon. They carry impulses from the CNS to effectors, such as muscles or glands, producing a response. Dendrites receive signals from relay neurons, and the axon, often insulated by a myelin sheath with nodes of Ranvier, transmits the impulse quickly. At the axon terminals, the impulse triggers muscle contraction or gland secretion. In summary, sensory neurons bring information to the CNS, relay neurons process and pass impulses within the CNS, and motor neurons carry commands from the CNS to the body, enabling the nervous system to sense, process, and respond to the environment efficiently.